2-0. Let's get your thoughts. We'll take questions from the group.
Yeah, first thing, just a credit to Little Rock and their staff. I mean, that's a really good team. We saw it on film, of course, with the game against Missouri State, but entertaining, play hard. Their length is crazy, and of course, Noel was really good tonight. But proud of the composure we showed. Disappointed in certainly some of the defense and giving up a lead, but really happy about the win.
When you gave up the lead there, they went to their full court press.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something the guys just got a little sped up, they said?
Yeah, and then we had one turnover in the full court press, but their 1-3-1 in the half court bothered us. You know, and we practiced for 2 days against it, but I can tell you that having a bunch of 6'7", 6'11" guys out there is hard to replicate when we don't have that. And it's just a learning experience, but that definitely got us a little stagnant. But they can't get into their 1-3-1 or their press if they don't score, okay? Because they're man on misses. So our biggest issues were the defensive end.
And Zach obviously hits the big shot of the game. Is that the guy you really want to shoot that shot, I would think?
You know, I think we have a lot of guys that, can make, we've seen JC make big free throws and big shots at different times, but Zach certainly is, if you had to pick one, the go-to guy. I certainly always trust him in those situations, specifically the way he's playing right now. But just a big-time shot, so go down 2 under that 4-minute timeout, to execute, get a great shot, to get a stop, another bucket, and of course that was, quote-unquote, the difference in the game.
How would you kind of grade the defense tonight?
I would grade the overall game a C-. We had stretches, certainly. Really disappointed in our focus and some of it's effort. It's not as much effort as execution defensively. Thought we had guys get tired. Our bench wasn't quite as good today, and so I do think some of it was fatigue. But we certainly need the bench to be consistent so we can spell those guys a little more. But we're not executing defensively like we need to be yet.
And offensively, Dedrick, he didn't have a great game the other night. I know everybody can't have a great game, but he came out and really kind of shot the ball tonight and really kind of got you guys going.
He did. We had that obviously huge deficit. I say huge, big deficit in the first half, and he was the main reason we kind of tied it up. And he's still. It's hard coming off the bench for some guys who've never done it, and he's one of those guys. He's completely bought in, great attitude, but how to get a rhythm off the bench is something that takes time, I think, and hopefully tonight we'll springboard him, but we want him to be very aggressive. He's one of our most talented offensive players. He's becoming a really good defender, and we really want him and need him to be aggressive. So it's nice to see shots go in. I think that will only continue to improve.
4 guys with double-digit points today. How big is it going to be having scoring options like that down the road?
I do think we'll be balanced scoring. Zach, as I said at the beginning of the year, is the one guy I think he's our biggest points guy that will be consistent. But after him, I think we've got 4 or 5 or 6 guys that can get double digits. And the way we play with our depth, sometimes that's off the bench, sometimes it's starters. But it is a luxury to have multiple guys that can do that. JC's been so solid. Ray is just continuing to get better, as you can see. Ricky, of course, 6-0 assist turnover. There are a lot of guys, but our balanced scoring is important for us.
And Taylor only played 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Was that because of his foot or?
Yeah, he didn't really even practice the last 2 days. He jumped in for about 10 minutes yesterday. So I didn't want to play him as many minutes, so I wanted to save him for the second half, and he just didn't really look as good. He wasn't moving as well. And again, I'm not. We don't want him to get injured because he's protecting his foot. So that's it. It's going to be that way for the end. I mean, I don't know how long, but certainly in the near future.
I mean, if you didn't would you have taken those rebound numbers before?
Oh man, yeah, probably the best thing we did. They had 3 offensive rebounds. I think the first 7 minutes. They had no more the rest of the first half, and of course they finished with 7. And part of the reason is because they made a bunch of their shots, right? But the way we battled on the boards was a huge key to the game.
And like I said, Noel, I mean, obviously, he might be the best 5'7" player in the country. Really.
Well, we played the best 6'11" kid we'll probably see all year in the last game, and the best 5'7" guy in this game. He's really, really good. He doesn't always shoot that many threes. Last year and in the last game, our zone, I think, impacted that. He made 4, but he also got fouled on one, and he only made 2 out of 3. But he really kind of 5 of his 3-point attempts. But man, he's jet quick, heck of a player, and he's got other really good players around. That's a good team. I mean, it might be a really, really good team. Remains to be seen, but they play hard. They compete. They're so long. That length is so hard to simulate in practice.
So 2 games under your belt, what's the biggest thing you take away from this week about your team?
I like our composure, if you want to take the biggest. I like how we finished both games. I think we compete to a good level. I think that can increase a little bit, but we have to execute better, both ends. And that'll happen. They want to. They've had a couple great practices. But I really do like our composure in both games.
For the first part of this week coming up, do you work just on yourself fundamentals kind of stuff?
Probably I'll give them. We have tomorrow off. We'll be very, very light Tuesday. So now you're in a Wednesday setting, and we're definitely going to focus on ourselves a little bit, get some things tightened up, some things we might see in the future. But we have plenty of time, of course, to study Central Florida. They only play their second game till Tuesday, so even after Tuesday, we'll have a bigger sample size too, to prepare for them.
And is there a chance Chastain would play the next game?
I would say there's a chance. I mean, you saw I don't know if you saw he kind of is in a splint now instead of the cast, but you don't know. I mean, he hasn't played without his cast in practice yet. I don't know if he will anytime soon. I think we're close, but certainly a chance. But same thing, we got to be smart. We don't want to have any setbacks.
Anybody else? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.